All right, hey there, gang. So we're going to do something a little different right now. I just tried twice to do a live stream with you, and we're just technology's like being mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record a video. I'm going to upload it like a live stream, and I'm going to do it as a premiere. We'll premiere it like right away so that you guys can chat. All right. So it's kind of like a live stream, but I'm really not live. But you guys are, because I'm not going to let this failure win. We are going to overcome. And I got this idea. I don't know if I'm just going to record the story. And I'm going to walk along. It's because I really want to take you to this guy's grave, the real Indiana Jones. It's a really great story. So we're at a cemetery right now called, well, we're in Beloit, Wisconsin. It's Oakwood Cemetery with all the oak trees. And I was saying there's 12 guys from New Hampshire that came here in the 1800s and said, let's go find a place in Wisconsin. So they came here to Beloit and they made Beloit. It's called New Albany. I don't know how they came up with the name Beloit, but here we are. We're in Beloit, Wisconsin, just north of Rockford. And it's a really neat cemetery. So I'm going to walk. I'm going to tell you about the real Indiana Jones. You know, no edits, unscripted. We're just going to do this right now. And his name was Roy Chapman Andrews, a hero of mine. I bet most of you haven't heard of him. He's not a well-known guy. Not going to really find him much anywhere, which is surprising. He's pretty much forgotten, and it's the grave is he's a family plot. It's in a pretty sad state here. Pretty much a forgotten man, but he's a big-time guy. So let me tell you about him. We'll take a look at the cemetery here as we walk. And we won't have any streaming problems because this will be released as a recorded session. Now, as we walk along, he was born here in actually Beloit. We're in South Beloit in the 1800s. And he was a kid here, and Wisconsin loved the woods, the animals, the marksman. But he said, you know, I want to be an explorer. I want to do I want to see the world. So he went to Columbia University, got a degree, tried to get a job at the Museum of Natural History. No luck. So they said, you can be our janitor. He said, I'll take it. I'll be your janitor. I'll do anything to work here. And it was a smart move because what he did was he was so knowledgeable and crafty and innovative, and he went out and he got his own specimens of all kinds of animals, and with that he brought them to the museum, and they started using his stuff for displays. And obviously he's working in the process, the whole process, he's working his way up at the museum. So that's how he did it. And he would go on to do much, much bigger things. Interesting mausoleum here. And by the way, one thing I notice that's really strange is that up there. I don't know if you can see that huge crack. Now that slab weighs many tons, and it is starting to walk its way. That's what we call the term, walk its way right off. You think when they lay that down with some type of crane. Look at that. That is just walking its way from right to left. And someday it will be overhanging and will fall down. How does it do that? Well, the ice, the winters, it's not anchored down. It's just sitting there. And you think to yourself, you go, wow, how would that ever happen, right? When they built that, or be like. So one of the things he did, you know, in those worlds, you don't have money as an explorer. You have friends. You need to make friends. You need to get donations. You need to meet rich people, etc. So what he did is he joined what's called, and still today, the Explorers Club. And downtown, I think it was out of New York, 1904. He joined in 1908. And Now listen, back then, the Explorers Club, holy cow. The Explorers Club were like real explorers. Let's start with Teddy Roosevelt. Let's talk about Adolphus Greely. You ever hear of the Greely? The Franklin, the ship. These guys all practically starved to death, cannibalized each other, kind of like the Franklin expedition. They were at the top of Greenland. They were more doing weather observation stuff. We had Greely. We have, oh my gosh, Richard Falcon Scott, the British explorer. A lot of Arctic explorers. Who else we got? Peary. We've got, of course, Roald Amundsen. I mean, epic. He was, I think, an honorary. Anyway, you've got all these unbelievable men that are part of this club. So he's meeting a lot of people. By the way, I was looking, as you know, many of you know, I do a lot of, I did my 20 years of Arctic expeditions, almost 20 years. And I looked at the Explorers Club. I mean, today it's, you know, those guys were explorers, but 2005, I think I remember looking at joining that, and nobody really wanted to hear about I was doing real exploration in the Arctic, but they were more interested in mountain climbing, zip lining. I mean, today, the Explorers Club, I mean, the people that had it, like, their guys' claim to fame is putting collars, electronic satellite collars on jaguars in Mexico jungle. Anyway, I don't think it is what it was. But anyway, so he joins us. He's meeting all these cool people. And then he is starting to put down his own plans to make expeditions. And what he hones in on is the expedition to Mongolia. Now, that's the Gobi Desert. This is like insane stuff. And he becomes friends somehow with the Mongolian prince of Mongolia. I think he left Peking. He took a mission. I mean, a huge expedition. They didn't know. I mean, they're looking for fossils and crazy stuff and whatever they might find. And Roy is heading, they have, I think, over 100 people. I don't know how many camels. And he was the first to, they thought he was nuts. He was using jalopy cars as part of the expedition. I think they were Dodge. Crazy, but it worked. And they got way, way, way in there, and they ran into all kinds of stuff. True explorers. And he had a lot of close calls. He ended up getting married. He brought his wife on that expedition. I think her name was Yvette, as I recall. And I mean, you talk about close calls, and you know, I talk about my Arctic expeditions with the polar bears in Canada, with the big grizzly bear encounter. He had, like, it puts me to shame, right? Well, he was a real big-time explorer. He had, let's see, a whale that almost killed them as it was charging their boat. They almost got killed by wild dogs. They almost got killed by falling off cliffs. They almost got killed. He got wrapped up with a giant, I think it was an anaconda that almost killed it, or swallowed him. I mean, crazy stuff like that. But also bandits. Just imagine. I mean, that's like going today to Afghanistan, right? It's like, there was one story of him where he was coming down the hill on his horse. He had just gotten supplies. And he's halfway down the hill, and there at the bottom of the hill are these 4 bandits on horses with rifles. Now, he could not go back up the hill. And it's like, what are you going to do? And he can't surrender his supplies. They would like starve to death. Like he was on a whole bunch of miles trek. Horse only has so much water. So what does he do? He just hits the horse and goes full speed down into these 4 guys. And the horses, their horses were scared. They jump up, they're scattering, so they can't shoot him. And he charges right through. And as Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, he's got that big pistol he pulls out, and he almost shoots one of them in the head as he flies by. Now there's a link I'm going to put up of one of the many pictures of him. He looks just like Harrison Ford. The hat, the gun, right? You know they modeled after him. They absolutely did. It's crazy. So he has all these near-death encounters, and they keep going deeper and deeper in. And this is just one of his biggest, most famous expedition. This is what I'm getting to. Why am I telling you about this one? Because on this expedition, in fact, let me flip the camera around. Too much on me. Let's get on some of these gravestones. He finally comes across an area where they find like 200 dinosaurs, okay? 200 different species, I think it was. Oh, I know they found 200 different animals. I don't know how many different species. And the huge big thing is they're first in the world, they find dinosaur eggs. Yes. I think it's around 20 or 25 they would end up collecting. Maybe it was just the egg shells, but like real. And it wasn't Roy himself, it was Olsen who went out, and then they all went looking, and Olsen actually found the most eggs. But that is what he's renowned over the world, as he's the first in the world to find and confirm that dinosaurs reproduced, and they were, babies were in eggs. They were hatched. Really amazing story. And many, many other expeditions he would have, many, many other encounters. This is a beautiful cemetery, guys. Let's focus a little more on the stones as we walk along here. And of course, it all climax, right? As his career goes on, he would end up being the director of the museum. How do you like that? Going from janitor to director of the whole thing. Now, communism would move in. The Depression, of course, came. And China and the Mongolia, all of that got closed off to everybody. So he was the first and last at that time for, 60 or 70 years. It was all closed down. And that whole area was a just treasure trove for paleontologists, anthropologists, for dinosaurs. It was the gold mine for dinosaurs. So in the end, after he was director, was director in 1934. In 1942, he would finally retire. Not here, though. He wouldn't come back here. He would go to Connecticut, to a town called North Colebrook. And that is where he would write a lot of his, he did a lot of writings of his expeditions. A lot of writings. And he would die in Carmel, I think it was, California, but he would come back here. So his grave is, let's walk over to the family plot right over here. And they would bring him all the way back to where he grew up. And the family goes back to the mid to late 1800s. Well, the grandfather here and the grandmother aren't even on Find a Grave. They go so far back. Just imagine being here in the 1800s. He had to be a real pioneer. I don't know if Carmel Valley is the same thing, but it was Carmel Valley where he passed. Or maybe it's pronounced like Carmel. think it's right over here, guys. Yeah. So here we are at the Chapman. Now, his name, Roy Chapman Andrews. I'm not sure when the Andrews came in, but this is the Chapman family plot. And we'll start here with this. We have B.A. Chapman, who was born February 23rd. Looks like, or what is it? Almost, yeah, that's got to be February 23rd. And it looks like 1833. And he died in 1891, December 22nd. And the wife, an interesting name, Avis, wife of B.A. Chapman. And she died November 29th, 1918. She was 75 years old. So these were the pioneers who came here, the Chapmans. So you have to imagine if he was born, yeah, it's like late 1800s, probably right with the initial guys. And there's a lot of stones here, a lot of small stones. Look at this, broken apart. And there's really no inscriptions that you can really read on these. This one's barely legible. Not at all. You can't even see. Sad. Oh, here on this side. Okay. Here's Charles. So it says Charles. Not sure what that says. No more writings on this big monument. Oh, this is Avis. So if this is Avis, this has to be, oh, Byron. So I guess Byron. So this is Byron and Avis. So his name was Byron. You have to wonder who that is. And we go over here. And this just says father and mother, no names. This is Ethelyn, kind of an unusual name. She passed in 1953. And here is the marker for Roy Chapman Andrews. Right here. It was 1884 he was born, yeah. 1960 he passed. Look at that. And just a very simple concrete with a bronze plaque. Nothing much to it. Something written on top here, but long been worn away. Yeah. So not much of a monument to Roy Chapman Andrews. Boy, you would think there would be more here, but at least he's got a nice plaque. All right, gang, sorry about the live stream. This is a semi-live stream where I can't talk back. So you guys, I'll put this out at a premiere. And then tonight we'll still have our premiere at 8 p.m. as usual, all right? You got to roll with the punches. All right, see you later.